Yesterday we have 145 votes, and making it 0.52%. And now he does have 14,742 votes, making it 0.28%. And yesterday, we have 560 votes, making it 2.43%. And right now he does have 108,301, making it 2.08%. And candidate Uga-American Museveni yesterday did have 14,232, making it 61.7%. That is as of yesterday, but this morning it does have 3,869,438, making it 76.25%. Valid votes as of yesterday, they were 23,049 valid votes, and this morning we do have 5,194,338 valid votes. Just the same way, details that you will return later at about 2 p.m. together with the Commission to give us any other update as and when things will be coming in. So at a later time, we shall also be getting back to you, our viewers watching the UBC TV and Star TV at this very particular time, to also give you on an update in case anything happens within. If we get certain agents who are in here that we can actually interview at a later time, we shall be as well hearing from them to get an update or an overview on what they think and what kind of information do they receive from the different parts of the country, given that not everyone can access the internet or data right now, except those who have actually the leeway after being permitted by the back to you at the broadcast house.
Electing your leaders at various elective positions is your fundamental human right. Here's how to cast your vote safely and correctly. Step 1. Go to the polling station where you're registered. Step 2. Present your national ID or voter location slip for officials to confirm your name on the register. Step 3. Your identity is verified using the biometric voter verification kit, fingerprint or face scan. Biometric verification is mandatory to ensure only eligible voters vote. Step 4. Your ballot is scanned and issued to guarantee it's valid. Step 5. Mark your choice in secret, cast your ballot and get inked. Polling runs from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Your identity protected. Your vote secure. Turn up and vote. My vote. My vote.
Well, it's about 5 minutes on to 10 a.m. Welcome back from the National Tally Center as Justice Simon Biarakama, who is the Electoral Commission Chairperson, has just given us an update of the second provisional results from the National Tally Center. He will be coming back at 2 p.m. But so far, indeed, as we've got the report, in case you have missed it and you haven't caught up with it, well, here it is. As it stands, of course, the total number of registered voters for the general elections, 2026 general elections, 21,681,491 voters. Polling stations, total number of polling stations registered is 50,739. Now, results from the second provisional results being released are from 22,758 polling stations, covering for about 44.5% of the polling stations, and starting with Bulira Frank, who is now at 23,267 votes, started with 84 votes in the first results, and at that point he was at 0.36%, now at 0.45% of the valid votes. Kasivante, who was at 66 votes in the first provisional results, now stands at 15,929 votes. At the first provisional results, he was standing at 0.29% and right now stands at 0.31%. Looking at candidate Chabulani, who was at 7,753 votes in the first provisional results, he stands at 1,312,407 votes as we speak right now, the second provisional results, and standing at 19.85% of the valid vote from 33.64% of the valid votes in the first provisional results. Looking at candidate Marizi, who was at 45 votes in the first provisional results, and that was at a 0.02%. He now stands at 10,910 votes at a percentage of 0.21% of the valid votes. Candidate Muntu was at 164 votes in the first provisional results, and currently with the second provisional results stands at 29,504 at a percentage of 0.57%, all the way from 0.71% in the first provisional results. Candidate Munyagwa stands now at 14,742 votes, bringing him to 0.28%, coming from 145 votes, and that was at 0.63% of the valid votes in the first provisional results. In the first provisional results, candidate Nandala was at 560 votes, and in the second provisional results, candidate Nandala stands at 108,301 votes, bringing him to 2.08%, a shift from 2.43% in the first provisional results. And finally, candidate Museveni, who was at 14,232 votes, at 61.7% of the valid votes in the first provisional results, currently stands at 3,869,438 votes, bringing him to 76.28% of the second provisional results. Valid votes so far registered are now 5,194,338 and were 23,049 in the first provisional results. And the invalid votes currently stand at 129,441, bringing them to 2.43% of the total votes. And the total votes altogether are 5,323,379 votes. That is accounting for 24.59% of registered voters. Spoiled votes so far are 17,281, coming from 37 votes only. The next provisional results will be at 2 p.m. from the National Tally Center. You are watching UBC TV, here to inspire you. My name is Julie F. Nantala. And in the meantime, I've been picked to look at what the statistics of the past elections looked like, starting off with the 2011 general elections. It was held on the 18th of February 2011, and the registered voters at that time were 13,954,129 voters, and only 59.29% were the voters that turned out to vote. The total number of polling stations in 2011 were 23,968 polling stations compared to what we have now, and that is 50,739. Total number of polling stations whose results were received at that time were 23,851, and the total number of valid votes registered in 2011 were 7,938,212, and the total number of invalid votes in 2011 were 334,548, accounted for 4.04% invalid votes, and the total votes cast were 8,272,760. That was the year 2011. But looking at the year 2016, well, 2016 had 27,881 polling stations. That is about 99.5% of the total polling stations. Pardon me now, this is polling stations whose results were received. But just to go into the total number of polling stations, there were 28,010 polling stations were registered in the year 2016. And out of those 28,010 polling stations, 27,881 polling stations sent in their results. It's the results that were received and counted. And valid votes at that time were 9,851,812, and invalid votes were 477,319. Total votes cast in the year 2016 were 10,329,131, registering spoiled votes of 29,005. Keep in mind that in 2016, it's when the biometric voter verification kits were introduced to the polling system, to the voting system of Ugandans. Now let's look at 2021, just 5 years ago, before this current election that we are exercising, that we exercised yesterday and now counting votes for. In 2021, we did have registered voters come to 18,103,603 voters registered in 2021. And the total number of polling stations was at 34,684 polling stations were registered. Those results that were received in 2021 were 34,601, accounting for 99.76% of the total polling stations. Now, valid votes at that time were 10,350,819 valid votes registered in 2021. Invalid votes in 2021 were 393,500 votes, accounting to about 3.66% of the total votes cast, and the total votes altogether in 2021 were 10,744,319 votes, accounting for 59.35% of registered voters. Spoiled votes there were 29,913, and 83 polling stations in 2021 were nullified. So far, for the 2026 general elections, we are at the second provisional results from the Electoral Commission, and we stand at the number of registered voters that is already obviously standard, which is 21,681,491 voters, 21,681,491 voters. Polling stations in this election cycle are 50,739, and so far results coming through have been collected from 22,758 polling stations, accounting for 44.5% of the registered voters over the polling stations. And definitely we'll keep them coming with reports from the field and with our field reporters in the field here on UBC TV. So stay tuned and be sure to follow all the facts with the statistics as they come through from UBC TV here to inspire you.
Electing your leaders at various elective positions is your fundamental human right. Here's how to cast your vote safely and correctly. Step 1. Go to the polling station where you're registered. Step 2. Present your national ID or voter location slip for officials to confirm your name on the register. Step 3. Your identity is verified using the biometric voter verification kit, fingerprint, or face scan. Biometric verification is mandatory to ensure only eligible voters vote. Step 4. Your ballot is scanned and issued to guarantee it's valid. Step 5. Mark your choice in secret, cast your ballot, and get inked. Polling runs from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Your identity protected, your vote secure. Turn up and vote. My vote, my voice.
A very good morning to you. In case you're just joining us, you are watching UBC TV, 8 presidential candidates, and we've just received provisional results, the second provisional results from the Electoral Commission, and that is at the National Tally Center in Lugoa, where they are being released from. And of course, we are looking at how they are varying from the different presidential candidates. Right from what we can tell, in case you haven't caught up with them, let's take a look at what we have on the screen here. As you can see, it's a summary, and the national polling station summary, 44.9% of provisional number of polling stations from the EC, and of course 22,758 stations have been reported as per, this was as per 9:36 a.m. and this is as of today, the 16th of January 2026. Results coming directly from the Electoral Commission and nowhere else. That means that they are as facts and truth as we receive them from the Electoral Commission. Looking at the summary, candidate Yoweri Museveni of the NRM party is in the lead, as you can see, 76.25%, and he is being followed by candidate Robert Chagulanyi of the NUP party with 19.85%. And you can see that thereafter, candidate Nandala Nathan Mafabi of the FDC party follows with a 2.08%, as you can see on your screen, followed by candidate Mjishamoto of the ANT party by 0.57%. Candidate Mubarak Munyagwa of the CMP party, that is the Common Man's Party, follows with 0.28%, and candidate Robert Kasivante of the NPP party, that is the National Peasants Party, follows with a 0.38%. As you can see, candidate Joseph Mabirizi come through with a 0.21%, making him lead from behind, as Frank Bulira comes at second last position so far with 0.45%, as you can see. General elections, and of course the leading party, as you can see from the pie chart here, it shows that the NRM party is leading indeed by the pie chart. Yellow is taking over with a 76.25%, and NUP is in the second lead, and of course other parties follow on thereafter. We bring you the results as they come through. Justice Simon Biarakama did mention that at 2 p.m. it's when he'll come back with the third provisional results, and as he opened yesterday, as he opened the National Tally Center, he mentioned that it will be on Saturday 17th. On Saturday 17th, it will be on Saturday 17th January 2026 that he will be announcing the official result of who the next president of Uganda will be, and that will be before 5 p.m. tomorrow. It's a time period of 48 hours that he is given to announce the results. So by tomorrow before 5 p.m. we will be in the know of who the next president of Uganda is. But of course, in a few places regarding a member of parliamentary seats, a few places, some members of some candidates who have contested for members of parliament already know their fate. For example, in Busiro North, Mayanja has been declared as the winner of the Busiro North candidacy, and he is being followed. He was followed by Ronald Semaganda of the NUP party. Candidate Mayanja is of the NRM party, and candidate Mayanja, actually for him it was the second time that he was contesting. He did contest in 2021, put up a very heavy campaign and lost that election, but again he has finally got his win in this particular election of the 2026 elections. We'll be giving them to you as they come. Of course, we also learned from Jamira, who is in Bukedea, where the woman, the Speaker of Parliament, the 11th Parliament, Honorable Anita Amon comes from and hails from, that Bukedea is yellow as we speak right now. We shall definitely be coming back with Jamila to give us a full update of what the official announcement from the returning officer was. But by the time we spoke with her, she was giving us provisional results that were definitely showing all signs of yellow to the side of NRM in Bukedea district. You are watching UBC TV, and indeed, thank you so much for choosing UBC TV this morning. Thank you so much for choosing to be fed with facts and truth as they come through this early morning. Uganda goes to the polls. Now, let's have a look at what candidates with the member of parliamentary seats, those who contested, what their fate looks like so far. We're starting off with Moroto, woman member of parliament. And from what we can see, Chiai Helen of the FDC party has 1,028 votes so far, and you can see, as you can see on the pie chart, it's quite small. But Atian Stella of the NRM party there comes through with 18,557 votes, which accounts for 69.2% of the votes. And as you can see from the pie chart, the NRM is covering Moroto woman MP. That is Atian Stella with 69.28%. And looking at other candidates, Apio Lucy Chegem, who is of independent, comes through with 7,199 votes, and that is garnering 26.88% of the votes. And indeed, Apun Bonis Kabonik, independent as well, comes through with a thin score of 0%. Interesting at that. Anyways, let's have a look at Matelico County. Matelico County here, Lotu K. Raphael Dean represents here the independent ticket, and she comes through at a 6.37% with 1,029 votes, as you can see on your screen. But looking at Loki John Baptist representing the NRM party, and he comes through with 8,487 votes, that is covering 52.51% of the votes, and making the pie chart look yellow as well. That is still in Karamoja sub-region in Matelico County, as you can see. But looking at the independent candidate, the other independent candidate, as well, as you can see, Akol Caesar Abura comes through with 6,647 votes, covering 41.12% of the votes. Let's have a look at Moroto municipality and see what it looks like there. Now it's interesting, it's almost half and half, as you can see on the pie chart. But looking at what the pie chart presents here, let's start off, of course, with the yellow side. Adiaka Charles Atotoi, pardon me, this is Adome Francis Lorica, who covers the yellow side, NRM, and that is bringing us to 2,300 votes, covering 51.66%, as you can see on your screen. And this half of the pie chart is covering for Angela Fred, who is on independent ticket and looking at 21,109 votes, covering 47.37% of the votes. Now, looking at other candidates, let's just tap there and see what Angela Zainab Ali, representing the FDC ticket, has a 0%, as well as Ojamuge George Francis on the NUP ticket has a 0%, making this Moroto municipality almost a half and half of independent and the NRM. But as you can see, that the NRM has a slight win. It's quite slight, it's almost a half, but it curves it a little bit and it makes it a slight win for the NRM party that has 51.66% by Adome Francis Lorica, winning Angela Fred on the independent ticket. Let's look at Tebeth County. Tebeth County, on the pie chart, as you can see, independent by Lokoru Albert, who has garnered 4,426 votes, giving us 65.15% of that candidate, and the NRM candidate has 34.85%, as you can see on your screen. That is Lokawao Michael Wilson of the NRM ticket, bringing the independent candidate to a win in Tepeth County. Now let's look at Kinkizi County East. Kinkizi County is not yet ready, but definitely will be bringing you all the results as they come through here on UBC TV. Thank you so much for choosing UBC TV. We are bringing you the provisional results as they come, and of course, as they are so far telling us, the story they're telling is the fact that in the central region, NUP is really dominating. It's red in the central region, but in other parts of Uganda, it's rather yellow, and it looks like this election is between two candidates. You might think that out of 8, it's only 2 that exist. You might think that it's only 2 and the other 8 are not there. But fortunately for you and us and I who voted, all of us who participated, we got a chance to choose the one candidate out of the 8. And so far, NRM and NUP are at loggerheads, each one defeating each other at different areas. We did look at Bukedea, the reports that came through from Bukedea. Jamila did show us how yellow was winning, but then for the woman MP seat, NUP was winning on there. We did hear from Sironko Farida did come through and give us an update of the tentative results on there. NRM was leading, but it's also interesting to know that at the polling station where candidate Nathan Nandela Mafabi voted from, he actually lost at his polling station, but at least you could tell that the competition was between FDC and NRM, which still begs to say that in one or the other, Sironko people still felt, still gave presence to candidate Nathan Nandela Mafabi as to where he is born and hails from. Justice Simon Bialakala did mention that at 2 p.m. he'll be coming back to give us the 3rd provisional results. I know many Ugandans, of course, can't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the 17th of January 2026. And before 5 p.m., it's at that point he'll be giving us a full detail and report of who the president of Uganda is. But for now, we just have provisional results that we are basing on and looking at the different areas of Uganda as to what they are producing and what we are bringing to you from the district tally centers, and of course for presidency coming officially from the National Tally Center. You are watching UPC TV. Stay tuned as we bring you more of the updates. the next president of Uganda. And as they say, numbers change the game. That is why we make sure that we repeat and bring you these numbers, the statistics as they come through from the National Tally Center, and indeed as presented by the EC chairperson, that is Justice Simon Biabakaman. You are watching UBC TV. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. And let's look at more of the statistics and of course looking at Uganda's general elections in regard to total registered voters. It's interesting that women pay heed to these factors such as these in regards to national matters. As you can see in regards to gender breakdown, let's start with the registered voters who are 21,681,490 people registered to vote. That means expected to have voted yesterday. But looking at the gender breakdown, you can see that only 47% of men, accounting for 334,362 men are accounted to vote in Uganda. And of course, looking at the percentage of women is 53%, accounting for 11,347,129 women registered to vote. It, I think, tells a lot. Is it a matter of population that men are less than the women in Uganda? Is it a matter of spirit and determination that women are more determined than men in matters of national importance? Well, I leave that thought to you to chew on. But let's look at a voter count per region. And looking at West Nile region, we do have 1,394,343 that registered from the West Nile region. And looking at the northern region, accounting for children comes through at 425,044 people from Karamoja region. Central North accounts for 1,003,745 people. Now the Eastern accounts for 1,096,255, and the Elgon region comes through at 2,188,393. The Western region accounts for 2,748,917 people, and the Southwest region accounts for 2,724 people, as you can see on there. Looking at Kampala region, which beats the rest of the regions with 5,871,635 people, and Kirak accounts for 2,154,893. Now, of course, one of the conversations that is rather interesting is the fact that the NRM party already has MPs representing. So far, the total is 17 of them. But let's look at who we have. And of course, candidates, the current Vice President of Uganda, Honorable Jessica Alupo, who is a Ugandan politician, educator, and a retired military officer serving as the Vice President of Uganda, and woman MP for Katakwi District, elected and opposed in the 2026 general elections. And she previously served as Minister of Education and continues strengthening national development, women's empowerment, and governance. And the other candidate to look at is one you would now call Mama Bukedeya, Anita Anet Among, who is Uganda's Speaker of the 11th Parliament, very unopposed as a woman member of Parliament, waiting to serve in the 12th August House. And of course, she is recognized for firm leadership, legislative experience, constituency representation, and overseeing parliamentary business, debates, and national lawmaking processes nationwide, and democratic and governance issues at that. The other candidates to look at and oppose, of course, is Honorable Thomas Tayewa, Uganda's Deputy Speaker in the 11th Parliament, looking forward to serve the 12th August House, as he was unopposed in the Ruhinda North, and indeed he is a trained lawyer known for parliamentary leadership, policy debate, regional representation, and promoting effective legislative oversight, accountability, transparency, cooperation, nationally and development. And of course, his demeanor when you talk about cooperation, it's one of the things he brings forth even when he stands to speak to masses and speak his truth. Quite soft-spoken, but speaks with the facts, and that is a man who always comes through with the facts. The other unopposed candidate is one that is loved by many Ugandan youth, and that is Honorable Fiona Nyamutoro, who is the woman member of parliament for Nebi district. Unopposed, looking forward to serving in the 12th August House. And she is known indeed for her youth engagement. If you follow her social media, especially her Instagram, it's one that will keep you locked in because she has interesting content on there, yet content that is rather decent, youthful at the same time, and keeps a Ugandan youth very engaged. Of course, given her relationship with her husband, who is a musician, but she is known for youth engagement, local development advocacy, constituency mobilization, women empowerment, and contributing to legislation addressing regional and national priorities, governance, inclusion, accountability, service, delivery at that as well. Now, the other candidates to look at, I hope we are able to get more of the candidates. Ofono Kondo, he is the Eastern Region Older Persons Member of Parliament, looking forward to indeed serve in the 12th August House. A former media executive advocating elderly welfare, social protection, policy inclusion, and representing senior citizens' interests within Uganda's national legislative framework, governance, equity, dignity, and representation. Let's see if we do have more. Definitely, Emmanuel Banya comes through there. He is the member of parliament of Koboko County and has been elected and opposed in the 2026 general elections. Tasked with representing constituent interests, promoting local development, participating in legislative debates, and supporting government programs for regional socio-economic transformation, governance, accountability, service delivery, inclusion, and stability thereon. Lian Paparu of Yale is the other candidate that is looking forward to serving in the 12th August House. And she's representing West Nile women, focusing on community development, social services, gender advocacy, and legislative participation in the national parliamentary affairs, governance, inclusion, equity, representation, and policy. Quite a common fact that I'm finding with most of these candidates is the fact that they are ready to represent for service delivery. It's something that has been lacking with most members of parliament. And if you go to ground, you realize that many people are indeed lacking with service delivery and complain when it comes to their members of parliament. But those that have gone through, of course, are promising that. Let's look at the other unopposed candidate, Ruth Rujoki Mushabe. She is the woman member of parliament of Turudura district and was elected unopposed in the 2026 general election, focusing on rural development, women empowerment, agriculture support, constituency service, and active participation in Uganda's parliamentary legislative processes, governance, representation, policy oversight, inclusion, and equity. And the other candidates to look at is Geneva Arinaitwe, still under the NRM ticket. Geneva Arinaitwe is the woman member of parliament for the Release district. She has been elected and opposed, of course, for the 12th August House as well. And her focus is on the education matters, education, health, women's rights, rural development, and bridging grassroots issues with national legislative priorities. The other member of parliament to look at as, now it's Emily, I believe should be a female, but the picture that comes through is that of a male, and I think we need clarity on that as well. But so far, Akum Catherine Mavenjina, Ugandan lawyer, politician, former magistrate serving as the older persons member of parliament for Northern Uganda in the 12th August House. And she's known for her experience, especially when it comes with activism for women's rights, advocacy, social policy, leadership, and community representation. and Emmanuel Banya is one that we looked at already. But one thing to know for sure is that the NRM party already has 17 cadres in the 12th August House. And of course, those were unopposed, counted unopposed. Now, of course, there are wins in different areas who are being added to that list. If at all it's a 17-mile stretch or it's a stretch from 0 to a point, NRM was already leading by 17 miles and is already adding on. Will other political parties catch up? Well, we await to see as the results continue to come through. Definitely be giving you more of the results as they come through and more of every statistic as it comes through. But just make sure that you stay tuned to the national broadcaster, and that is UBC TV, where facts are shared and then spread to the public so that no information is misinformation. goes to the polls, and now Uganda gets its results of who the next president shall be. You are watching UBC TV. My name is Julie F. Nantaman. We are showing you statistics from the different areas as to how each party is performing, what each area looks like. Is it red? Is it yellow? Is it gray? Quite confusing. We did see that there is, it must have been municipality, Moroto municipality, that was actually very, very gray with independents leading more than the NRM tickets right there in regards to MP. But let's look at what districts look like, and starting off, of course, with Moroto that I've just been talking about. As you can see on your screen, Yoweri Museveni of the NRM party is at 24,906 votes. That is accounting for 90.76%, followed by Kyagulanyi Ssentamu of the NUP ticket with 1,446 votes, accounting for 5.27% of the votes. What a difference there. Let's look at what the district statistics look like. As you can see, registered voters in Moroto alone are 41,546 voters registered. And you can see those who are voting as male voters, 18,443. Remember what I talked about at the statistics of men and women registered voters. We do have the female beating here in Moroto, and as you can see, female voters are 23,103 voters registered to vote in the election of the 2026 general election. Like I said, I pose it to you for you to chew on and ponder. Is it a fact of population that women are more than the men in Uganda, or is it a fact of spirit that women are more determined when it comes to matters of national importance? But as you can see also, the total population of Moroto as by UPOS 2024, it's 103,639 people, and polling stations there are just 118. Now let's look at other candidates away from NRM and NUP. Third position taken by candidate Nandala Nathan Mafabi of the FDC party with 529 votes, covering 1.93% of the votes of the percentage there, and followed by candidate Frank Bulira of RPP with 191 votes, covering 0.70%, as you can see, and candidate candidate Mubarak Munyagwa of CMP party covers with 110 votes, 0.40%. Candidate Robert Kasivante of the National Peasants Party comes through with 99 votes in Moroto district, and brings us to 0.36%. And candidate Mugisha Muntu of ANT comes through with 90%. Actually, it's I think quite a surprise. Well, not as in regards to region, maybe not, but you would expect candidate Mugisha Muntu to actually beat all Robert Kasivante and Bulira there, but comes through at the 7th position with 90 votes, and that is covering 0.33%. And finally, candidate Joseph Mabilizi of the CP party comes through with 72 votes only, and at 0.26% of the vote, as you have seen. We bring you the statistics, and definitely as they come through as facts and spread as the real information that you need to follow up. The numbers change the game, so do not be as excited until the final result is announced tomorrow by the EC chairperson, Justice Simon Biabakama. That is before 5 p.m. You'll be coming back at 2 p.m. to give us the third roundup of the provisional results. Uganda goes to the polls 2026.
campaign is proudly organized by the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy and Partners with support from the European Union. Tuongeye, let's talk peace.
I'm Superintendent of Police, Bagan Specials, the DPC Dokoro. We are in for the election period, and my role as police is to provide security. However, if we are to have a peaceful election, it is a two-way traffic. The Wananchi also have a role to play in this. The catchword in this is to have an election period where everyone is to participate freely without any fear. Our commitment as police, we are going to prepare and prepare and prepare. And then we shall give a leveled ground for all of you to participate in this election. We call upon all Ugandans to keep peace during this election period.
This campaign is proudly organized by the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy and Partners with support from the European Union. Tuongeye, let's talk peace.
My name is Amanya Belinda. Allow me to remind us that elections come and go. They are periodic. Every after 5 years, we have another set of elections. But what remains is the fact that we are Ugandans and we are not changing that fact. So in this coming 2026 elections, that